Imagine walking into a store with $20,000 in cash, ready to buy their single most famous product. And the store politely refuses to sell it to you. Not because you can't afford it, but because, in their eyes, you simply haven't earned the right yet. Welcome to the genuinely bizarre world of the Hermès Birkin bag. A handbag so exclusive that merely having the money is only the very first step. You cannot just stroll in and buy one. In fact, almost nobody can. And here is the truly strange part. This bag, the one that is deliberately, maddeningly hard to buy, is often worth more the second you walk out the door with it. Many Birkins sell used for more than their original price. A handbag that goes up in value. So how on earth does a company sell something? By refusing to sell it. And how does making a product nearly impossible to buy somehow make people want it even more, not less? The answer breaks one of the most basic rules you think you know about prices. It is a genuine masterclass in something called artificial scarcity. So let's follow the money, right past the velvet rope. Let's start with the rule we all just assume is true. Normally, if you've got the money, you can buy the thing. You want a coffee, you pay for it, you get a coffee. Simple, obvious, done. And normally, price works just like a seesaw. If lots of people want something that's scarce, the price goes up. If something is everywhere, cheap and common, the price drifts back down. Plain old demand and supply. But there is a special category of product where this rule flips completely upside down. Economists call them Veblen goods. And for a Veblen good, a higher price, and being harder to get, makes people want it more, not less. Why? Because for these particular products, the whole point isn't really the thing itself. It's what owning it says about you. The difficulty is the product. And nobody on earth understands this better than Hermès. So, the Birkin is a leather handbag made by the French luxury house Hermès. It's named after the actress Jane Birkin, and the story goes that it was first sketched out on a plane, all the way back in 1984. A basic one starts at around $10,000. And the rarest ones, in exotic leathers, can sell for hundreds of thousands. One especially famous example fetched well over $250,000 at auction. Now, each bag is famously hand-stitched by a single craftsperson, and that genuinely does take many hours. So yes, it is beautifully, wonderfully made. But the eye-watering price, and the absolute frenzy around it, that is not really about the stitching. Because the demand for these bags is just absolutely enormous. Hermès could, if it simply wanted to, make far more of them and sell every single one. But it very deliberately, very carefully, chooses not to. And that right there is the entire trick. Hermès deliberately chokes off the supply. It strictly limits how many Birkins actually exist in the world. The bags are scarce not by accident, but completely and totally on purpose. It's manufactured scarcity. And it goes so much further than just making very few of them. You generally cannot just walk in and grab one off a shelf. There usually isn't one sitting on the shelf at all. The most famous bag in the entire world is kept, quite deliberately, out of sight. Instead, customers have widely described needing to build up what's called a purchase history first. Meaning, you are expected to spend thousands of dollars on other Hermès things, scarves, shoes, jewelry, homeware, just to prove yourself a worthy, loyal customer. And then, maybe, if a sales associate quietly decides that you are finally ready, you might be offered the chance to buy one. You don't get to choose the Birkin. In a very real and deliberate sense, the Birkin chooses you. So think of it as the longest velvet rope in the entire world. And we all know exactly what a velvet rope does outside a nightclub. The harder it is to get in, the more desperately every single person outside wants in. By making the bag so genuinely difficult to obtain, Hermès completely transforms it. It stops being a mere handbag and quietly becomes a trophy. Living proof that you have the money, the patience, and the rare insider access. A badge. So every hoop you're made to jump through, every year spent waiting, doesn't actually put people off at all. It does the exact opposite. It makes the prize feel even more valuable, even more special, and even more worth chasing. This is the Veblen good in its purest possible form. The difficulty isn't some bug to be fixed. The difficulty is the whole entire point. They are not really selling you a bag at all. They are selling you the velvet rope. And this manufactured scarcity ends up creating something almost magical. Because the supply is choked while the demand just explodes, the bags hold their value astonishingly well, and very often, they actually gain it. Out on the resale market, many Birkins sell for as much as, or even more than, the original store price. So someone buys a bag, actually uses it, and then later sells it for a profit. Just try doing that with almost anything else you own. This has quietly turned the Birkin into a genuine alternative asset. Some studies have even claimed it outperformed gold, and at times the stock market, over certain stretches. People now literally invest in handbags. And all of that just feeds the loop. If the bag is an investment that reliably goes up in value, then everyone wants an even more, which lets Hermès stay even more exclusive. The scarcity feeds the demand, which feeds the scarcity. But in 2024, this very clever little game landed Hermès in some real legal trouble. In March of that year, a group of frustrated shoppers in California actually took the company all the way to court. And their claim? That forcing customers to buy thousands of dollars of other products, just for the mere chance at a Birkin, is actually illegal. A practice that, they argued, unfairly ties one purchase to a completely separate one. It finally put a real legal name to the whole velvet rope trick. The lawsuit dragged Hermès' quiet, unwritten little sales rituals right out into the harsh, bright light of a courtroom. Now, Hermès did manage to get the case dismissed. But the lawsuit still pulled back the curtain, and showed the whole watching world just how deliberate, and how genuinely strict, all that gatekeeping really is. And here's the thing, once you really see this trick, you start spotting it absolutely everywhere. The Birkin is simply the most extreme, most perfect, most polished example of it. Limited edition sneakers that sell out in mere seconds. Luxury watches with multi-year waitlists. Members-only clubs, and sold-out concert tickets. Every single one of them is quietly tugging on the very same velvet rope. Because in each and every case, the scarcity itself is the actual product. You're not just paying for the shoe, or the watch, or the bag. You are paying for the simple fact that most other people just can't have it. It's a genuinely powerful reminder that a price is not only about the cost, or even the quality. A huge part of what we pay for, especially right at the very top, is pure, deliberate, manufactured exclusivity. So if you strip away all the leather and the glamour, the Birkin's real genius is just breathtakingly simple. Hermès figured out that the single surest way to make people desperate for something is to flatly refuse to sell it to them. The velvet rope, the years-long waitlist, the purchase history, none of it is a barrier to the business at all. It quite literally is the business. The difficulty itself is the luxury being sold. So the next time something feels just barely out of your reach, and you feel that little pull of wanting it even more, just ask yourself one simple question. Are you actually chasing the thing itself? Or are you really chasing the velvet rope?